Bloggers!
Yeah, episode 7 of League of Bloggers. Curtis James.
Chase, Viking Redbeard.
Zane, Alright, and today's episode brought to you by Chase, who brought us Kona.
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 They're from Hawaii.
Yeah. What are we starting with? The IPA. Castaway. Nice.
IPA Castaway.
So,
Well,
cheers.
Cheers. Let's try not to
Guys,
spill my beer this
We've
time.
made it through quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
Made it through quarterfinals.
Unlike everyone from the Western Hemisphere. Actually, anyone west of the Middle East.
Yeah.
So, that's fun. Actually, I can break it down even further. Anyone west of where the event is taking place.
That makes it sound like it's only Chinese people and Korean people that are left. That
Surprise!
can't be accurate, can it?
Oh,
I mean,
what?
that's only every other season as well. Alright, so, yeah. Let's just start in order. We started off with Longzhu, the not heavy, but the tournament favorites. They were the number 1 seed from Korea. They looked really good in the group stage. They went up against Samsung Galaxy, took the number 2 seed out of Group C, which was the deepest group with RNG, G2, and themselves. And, unexpected result.
Unexpected result indeed.
We predicted Zane wrong with the 3-1. You and I both had the 3-0 right, just the wrong way.
You mean we picked the wrong teams? How is this possible? Longzhu.
Me wrong? That's impossible.
A little bit of that.
But yeah,
Not impossible, just unlikely. This was so surprising.
the way
Like-
it went down, yeah.
Like, Longzhu didn't show up. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was not close. Even the matches weren't really all that close. Like I had really deep notes for the first minute. It went to 44 minutes,
Yeah.
but I mean that was the longest match, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 44 minutes.
Like 30.
Samsung was up 19-15. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I
How long were the
keeping
other
track.
2 matches? I think they were like 30 and like 33 or some shit.
29-41 for the second
Okay.
game, went 16-5 in Samsung Galaxy's favor, and then 33-52.
34. Ooh, I was close. But yeah, I mean, like, honestly, and I had taken down, like, some gold lead ones, and the thing was, as good as Longzhu looked early, they got, like, you know, turrets and kills and stuff, they were always kind of behind or right even with kills, it seemed, but their gold lead, like, gold lead at 15 was 100. At 20, 100. At 25, 900. Like, they were never getting far ahead, and then all of a sudden they hit, like, 30 minutes, and all of a sudden Samsung Galaxy was up by 2.5K. Like,
Yeah.
that's what happened. They were playing well, and they were supposed to be an early game team, and they just never got there.
I was gonna say, like, this particular series, to me at least, I didn't see any, like, standout players on either side. It's just, like, Samsung Galaxy just played the better game.
Yeah.
Like, which none of us saw coming.
No, I mean, I called the 3-0 because I was like, well, Samsung looked questionable. And part of it does, I'm sure, come down to the fact that they had a lot better prep out of RNG and G2 in the group stage, whereas Longzhu was able to just kind of walk over everyone. I mean, they ended up having the weakest group. I think in hindsight, that group is the weakest. Immortals were super opposite of Clutch.
Yeah.
Gigabyte, while they can be aggressive and really push you, they don't have that cohesive play that is necessary to win a game that goes past 40 minutes. And Fnatic, I mean, them and EDG in Group A, like, they both crapped the bed and then showed up second week. But EDG had to show up against harder teams. Not way harder or anything, but, like, Fnatic, they're alright, but, you know, they weren't amazing. So you look at Longzhu, it's like, well, what did they really have to worry about? Nothing.
To be fair, Longzhu did play pretty good in their first game. It was
Right.
a little bit surprising. It was like a very, very slow, drawn-out game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that they weren't able to keep up, and they got outpaced.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed like
Which is the opposite of what Longzhu should be doing.
Every couple minutes we kept
And
moving closer and closer to the Nexus.
And I definitely think they played against their own hand by starting with the Cho'Gath top. I really I mean, it's Khan, but they picked him, Jace in the second game? I feel like they took him some aggressive tops. I stopped taking my notes. I needed to keep that going. What did they play top in the second and third game?
Second game, they
Cho
had the
again.
Cho'Gath, and then the third game they had
Trundle.
Trundle.
Actually, so yeah, they never put him on a hard carry. Like, the Trundle's the closest thing to a carry champ. Like, Cho can take someone out, but that's it.
Yeah.
So I feel that's
if he
really
comes
weird.
in with his ultimate, he's gonna get one
Yeah.
solid.
He's gonna secure one and then
Yeah, it
scream a couple times.
and I mean, even honestly, if you look at the bans, let's see. Jace was banned by in the first game by Samsung in the first rotation. What the fuck are you doing, dog? Yeah, and then they actually went and they drafted the Cho right away.
Yeah,
Hold on.
they banned Cho'Gath in the first game.
Yeah, okay. They
But that was
Jace was banned and they banned Cho'Gath, and they picked their bot, and then they banned Gnar themselves. Oh, did they pick? They played Jax maybe the first game.
First game we had.
Who did Khan play? Yeah, okay,
They
Khan
had-
did play
they-
Jax.
Yeah, they had
So
the
they
Jax.
had him on the carry top. It just didn't work out, and then they went away from it. Really, they went into a Cho'Gath second game, and like I don't know, like they definitely weren't up to the task. Samsung was the better team on the day, and I think a little bit that does play into though them both being LCK Korean teams. That familiarity with the other team, you know where to pressure them, you know where to play them. It's just like I much more expect a team of equal status to, like, say, Misfits, Fnatic, to beat G2 if they're from another region, whereas G2 knows those teams,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just it kind of worked the opposite way in this one, where it's like, no, we know Longzhu, and Longzhu has no like world stage experience either. So I think when the pressure got up to him, that might have really affected them going into game 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, the second game, Longzhu was not doing poorly at any point in the third game. It was just, they were outpaced. It was just
Constantly.
like, they
Yeah.
couldn't make any forward movement, and they were just trying to slowly stop
Yeah.
the backwards movement, and that's all it was. I mean, game 2, Longzhu couldn't win a team fight, and that was it. Like, if you can't win a team fight, or at least get a favorable trade, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I really liked Samsung in game 2. They pulled out, third game they pulled out Lissandra, right?
In the third game.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a couple really cool picks that came out here. That was, I think, the only one this series that was interesting. The other series had tons of fun picks. Oh my gosh, this quarterfinals was the best for, like, did they just pick that? No, they fucking locked that in. Oh my god.
Well, game 1, we saw the first Kennen. He came out.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that one's not terribly
Well,
surprising
I mean,
because
we saw the first Jax.
Yep.
We saw the first Kennen.
I believe
that
it was
wasn't the
also
first Jax. We saw something
No.
playing at least.
Okay.
this is the first
Counts
Thresh too, wasn't it?
No, Misfits played Thresh and Blitzcrank during the group stage.
Okay.
And, I mean, we did get a Malzahar. This was the first Malzahar that we've
Yes,
seen.
and the
so-
Malzahar counter to the Galio worked
Yep.
really well because we'll come around to that not being played. But no, Malzahar, he wasn't a counter to Galio in this game though. That didn't happen until
Rise.
that was Fnatic RNG, I think. But
Oh,
yeah,
shoot, yeah.
but I mean, he got played a couple different times, but still, like, yeah.
Have we seen many Terex at this point either? 'Cause,
We've
I mean,
seen a handful, mostly from the
Okay.
Chinese teams.
Sure.
I think WE's played it the most. But yeah, like we saw some good bit. The Lissandra we had not seen.
No, yeah, that one's definitely new.
And I gotta say, a takeaway from the whole quarterfinals, it's that the meta, like, while it's still like, okay, there's the Ardent Sensor, there's a couple champions you cannot give these in tandem. Cloud9. Like, there's
we'll get there.
yeah, there's a couple of these things, but for the most part, the meta still has like a lot of like room for interpretation, which I think is a lot of fun. It's way
Well,
more interesting.
We've been even seen a shift from these first 2 sets to the second 2 sets. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
it's just ever evolving, and it's weird to be evolving still when you're at this point in the season.
Yeah, usually it's pretty locked down right now, and so we kind of know we're like, okay, well, these teams are making it through, and we don't know right now. But yeah,
Well, we're playing like a little bit of North America's meta. We're playing a little bit of EU's meta.
yeah.
And I don't really know
The Ardent
China
Sensor is, I mean, the Korean meta is the slow pace. China is messy but slow, so I don't know. Overall takeaways though from Longzhu Samsung.
I truthfully don't think there was a whole lot to take away.
That's
like
where I'm at.
Like I said, I don't. There's no particular champs on any particular characters, and any particular champs in this series that really stood out to me. It just looked like Samsung played the better game.
Yeah.
Like just as a bottom line.
I don't think any player in particular really stood out. Just Longzhu not really showing up overall.
I guess that's the takeaway. Samsung won.
Yeah. I think actually my bigger takeaway would be a little bit that Samsung does have some different picks that they're ready with. The Malzahar they were ready with. The Kennen, which the weird part about the Kennen was actually that's the first time we've seen AP Kennen in forever because they tweaked his numbers again. It's because we had only seen him AD, in which he could split push really hard, but his team fight's less good.
Right.
And then we had seen Reckless actually playing him AD carry and doing really well for a while. But yeah, like so AP Kennen, Lissandra, like Malzahar, they have some picks that they're ready with these counter picks to what's going on, and we see some of that later on too that we'll get to. But I think Samsung Galaxy is showing really good preparation. Partly because it was a 3-0 and they didn't look terribly challenged, just like Longzhu wasn't all there. I don't know if that's because they were amazing and super in control, or Longzhu just didn't show up that day, so I don't know what to think of them going forward right now.
I kind of feel like they were still trying to sandbag, and it caught up to them. Like they were still trying to underplay where they're at.
I think once you get swept, it's no longer sandbagging, it's sucking. Sandbag adjacent?
Yes.
Sucking is sandbag adjacent.
Yes. I don't know. Like, they did so well up until today, or not today, but that day. And it was like they didn't show up. They slept through that day or something. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely wasn't what I expected going in.
It wasn't what any of us thought.
So, that's Longzhu.
Thank you for not helping my bracket. You made me sweat.
Yeah, you're all like, I need my 2 points to get my icon. You pansy.
I was very concerned.
Well, you got your icon, even though you're an idiot and picked so many upsets.
Just by such a narrow margin.
Alright, so heading into the second series was SKT Misfits. Now, for that series, we picked 3-0 SKT, 3-1 SKT, 3-2 SKT. We were all right. One of us was more right than the others. And you know what? I'm sad I was right. I'm so sad I was right. Leaving that match, I'm not sure who the better team was, but I know who should have won that series, and it was an SKT.
I know who I wanted to win. Like, when I was sitting on this couch a week ago, I was pulling for SKT because I wanted to. After watching those games, Ignar just changed my life.
You love that Korean support.
Yes, I really do.
No, his Blitzcrank is the filthiest thing.
Well, those first 2 games, like, they were so one-sided. It was like the first game, it was SKT, 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 over and over again until the Nexus.
And then the desk was all like, I think the Misfits are going to tilt. I think it's 3-0. And then
game 2, Misfits. It's like, everything's coming up Misfits. Like, I don't think SKT got anything in that game.
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't a perfect game, but they wrecked them.
That Blitzcrank was ruthless.
Oh.
And we did see the
Was it game 2 or game 3?
No, actually,
game 2.
On that note, what were the comps that game?
So, which one? Game 1, game 2?
Game 2.
Game 2, we had Blitzcrank, Gnar, Tristana, Karma, and Sejuani for Misfits. And we had Jarvan, Tarek, Cho'Gath, Kog'Maw, and Corki.
Now, I distinctly remember the announcers saying something to the effect of Gnar and Sejuani being on the same team was kind of a nombo as far as team comp goes.
Okay.
And when they said that, like, right away, I think it may have even been during pick,
You're like, but
thinking,
Sejal and Tanaro.
Are you fucking shitting me? That sounds amazing!
Well, and honestly, what we saw was the Gnar being played off to the side and whittling people down. I think we're going to see more of the Gnar going forward, because Gnar has been great when picked. Gnar, because we're seeing all these tanks out of top, Cho'Gath and stuff, and if
Well,
Gnar's sitting there with Cleaver
We're
and
only
Mallet,
not seeing Gnar because he's getting banned in almost every game. So it's like when he's not
he's
getting
second
banned.
round banned a lot of the time.
You're
though.
right. You're right.
And so, like, if your enemy's gonna be like, okay, we got Sedge and Cho, why not pick the Gnar and be like, I mean, like, obviously the reason not to is because what role they're gonna ban in the second phase. But we're seeing the Gnar, if he's off on the side with Mallet and Cleaver, and he's just getting his 3 procs of Hyper over and over, and you can't chase him down as Cho'Gath even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, you can pop the Righteous Glory, he's just gonna hop the fuck away and then slow you down with another Boomerang.
Nope.
So he whittles Cho'Gath down, and he's good enough with that Boomerang to keep the harass going so that Warmogs never pops either. He's a perfect counter to a Warmog's tank top. I think so anyway.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little more of him.
But like I said, I've seen
absolutely
Gnar
none of them.
banned in so many games.
Right. It
So
just matters how high the priority goes. If it's high enough to pick him
You're right,
first
I mean-
rotation or first round, or is it so high that he gets banned instead? It's going to be somewhere in between.
Yeah, he's banned in almost every game he's not played. I mean, we haven't seen a ton, but we have seen plenty.
Yeah. I mean, when he gets banned, it's generally the second rotation because right now it's so important to get your bot duo and your jungle.
Yep.
But which is another reason, like, it's disappointing.
Well,
we'll get there, but, like,
they're
if
just
Cloud9
arguing
went
over the
on-
same 6 champions every single time. It's just like, who's getting the Tristana? Who's getting the Zaya? Oh, one
I
of them
found
got
it
banned.
ridiculous how
we need to
many-
get the Kog'Maw.
I found it ridiculous how many teams didn't realize Trist is the pick. I think when the WE Cloud9 match happened, is in Game 4-5, is where teams finally said, yeah, so if we're not going to first pick the Tristana, we have to ban it. Like, I think that's when we finally seen that. I really expect to see that going forward, too. But yeah, so
Yeah,
this
her
match...
bans have been picking up too, so
Yeah.
we're gonna see less of
But
her.
when you ban her, something else is open. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the way it works.
And it comes down to what do you want to play against, and
Yep.
it doesn't really matter because it's always not fun.
Yeah,
Random thought I just had. I
Yeah.
think it's funny that whoever wins Worlds, they're going to release a set of skins for the winning team.
yes.
And those are not the best champs that were meta during League. They are the second best because all the best were banned.
Well, sometimes you get the pick through, though. I saw in the
Sometimes.
Reddit thread somebody really sad about Misfits losing. It was actually in a translation of Korea's Invent threads. And so when they lost at Game 5, they're like, I'm happy SKT won, but bye Bunny Sejuani Radiant Bunny. Bye Bunny Blitzcrank. Bye Bunny. It's like, they're like, I want these skins.
I
I'm
thought-
sorry, but Sejuani riding a giant rabbit would have been a fantastic skin.
That would have been pretty awesome.
And it would have had the eye patch even, because Bristle already has, like, an eye patch on the bear form.
Bunny Leona, maybe?
Yeah, no, Bunny Leona was the one they said,
we could have
actually.
gotten
Bunny
another.
Leona!
We said Bunny Leona, not Bunny
We
Blitzcrank.
could
That
get
would've been
a Bunny
incredible.
Riven 2.0.
But hold on, let's see if we can go through. So it was Bunny Sejuani, Bunny Leona, what was played mid?
Wasn't it Ari? No.
Well, all 3 games. Or, oh god, there's 5
All-
games, that's
all
right,
5
dear
games.
god. Just whatever the Misfits mids were.
Oh, let's see.
Karma?
They
Bunny
played.
Gnar, I
they-
think, was the top, they
Oh,
said.
nice.
They played a Karma mid. That was interesting.
Yeah, it might have been. I think it was Bunny Karma, Bunny Gnar, Bunny Sejuani, Bunny Tristana, Bunny Leona. Which would have been such a great... Everybody would have wanted to buy those. Like, there's not one of those champions that you're not like, that's awesome. Of
No.
course, what champions it is up to the team. They say, I want this champion.
I thought that
I
they had
like
to
Blitzcrank.
have played it at least
I
once.
believe they do have to have played it, but they pick which one.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, you played this 50% of the time, and they're like, but I hate that champion. It's just meta.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I have heard some people. Is it Faker that wants an Ari skin for mid?
Probably.
But
But
Faker
he
hasn't.
played.
Yeah. So we might see an Ari coming forward, but
Yeah. But actually, that game too, the Blitzcrank. Okay, first of all, like I said, it was dirty. It was a dirty Blitzcrank.
He was inspirational
he-
Blitzcrank.
He got up in Faker's face. Like, Faker was visually bothered following game 2, and he was upset following game 3. Because the game 3, we just got to move into it. Fervor Leona. Oh my god.
It
I can't explain SKT's Vayne pick. in that scenario. I don't feel like it was a good pick, but the Fervor Leona was the best thing I've seen since Fervor Rumble.
That whole game, I was just sitting down on my couch going, son of a bitch. The whole game.
He's getting his mastery pages up. And...
They pulled an Ivern in that game, too.
Oh, yeah, they did. Oh, my God. Bunny Ivern would be awesome. Okay, we're all on board the Misfits for 2018 train, right? We need these skins.
Oh my god, please.
Chase would buy the bundle.
Done.
I would consider buying the bundle.
$60 done.
But the Ivern, they went full early aggression. Obviously, the Fervor on Leona is all about in-lane trade damage. And I was really glad the casters pointed it out. Because early on, I believe they had Tristan in that match, right?
Game 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's Tristan and
Yeah.
Leona. Yeah.
So early on, Trist goes in on just a trade with Vayne. That she like loses by a little bit, but I was like, why would you go for that trade? And then later on, that fight happens where the Fervor Leona gets full, because she's melee. She gets full stacks after like 4 hits. She's doing 90 extra, or she's doing like 90 damage per
I think the announcer
auto.
actually said it was 8, wasn't it?
8 stacks.
Oh.
Melees get double stacks.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So a melee with Fervor gets their stacks in 4 hits as opposed to a ranged, which takes full 8. So Leona's doing like 90 damage per auto, fucking up that Vayne. And actually, a beautiful play. They showed it in the replay and they mentioned it. He flashes over, autos the minion to get the Targon's proc for the heal, which is the only reason Leona didn't die at the end when they cleaned up the support for the double kill. Yeah, because then it would have been a 2-for-1, which is still good, but not as good as a 2 for nothing. So he had that, but also, so that earlier, when the Tristana went in for the trade, what it is that, what's his name in the bot lane? Hansama. Hansama runs more health, HP regen, like, in his runes.
Yeah.
So he went in for the trade because, it's an even trade, but I'm healing an extra 2 or 3 per second than you, or per 5, whatever. And so after a minute, he has more health. So he's putting himself in an advantageous position by going into a trade that he has no intention of fighting out. Yeah, he's like, goes deep early, and the Vayne's like, ha, I got ahead. And then all of a sudden later when they fight, it's like, wait, what the fuck, why am I not ahead? Also, why is this Leona raping my face? Oh, she has Fervor, fuck me.
So, I feel like I didn't actually check the stats, but this has to be the game where the support got the most kills of any support in any other match we've seen.
Probably. What did he end up with?
I didn't.
Oh, you
keep
didn't
track.
keep that stat.
Yeah, no, because like I was like, Leona's gonna get some kills, and Leona got some kills.
She did, but he had one like bad ult
They
near
were-
Baron because he threw his E towards Faker, thought he was gonna land it, and threw the ult in the same spot, and Faker actually dodged it up a little bit, so he missed that. But otherwise, like, he was on point. Ignar, have they won this? Have they won this series? He's player of the match. Absolutely got it. No doubt, in my mind.
No, absolutely.
He's honestly, if you're allowed to pick from the losing team, they were saying on the best. They're like, a lot of us wanted to pick Ignar.
Yeah.
As a support main and as a Leona main, and as someone that's so sick of watching League of Janna and Lulu,
Right.
this game just tugged my heartstrings. This restored my faith in the game. Leona and Ivern shit on a SKT. That felt so good.
And don't get me wrong, like we've cheered for Misfits all the way through, and so I mean, none of us are happy. It's just it's what we were expecting. But this game was a fun game.
It was the whole series, yeah. And then the Heartbreak game 4, because Misfits had it. They had the game. They had the pressure on the mid. I understood that they felt they weren't going to get the break on it, but they overdove.
I didn't even make notes until 23 minutes because I thought it was Misfits' game.
They had the game. They were holding the game. They were completely dominating the game, and they overdove mid inhib turret. Like, they didn't dive to the turret. They didn't dive just to the inhib. 2 people, I believe, made it past the inhib, and the other 3 were at the inhib / maybe just behind it to turret. Like, it was too deep. If you don't pick up that kill before you commit in, like, you're fucked, and that's what happened. And Faker was there.
Yeah.
I've got to say, is questionable as a lot of SKT has been, Faker has never been the problem on that team this whole tournament. Faker still has it. I just don't know if the team around him has it enough. He can only bail you out so many times, because Misfits bailed them out here. If Misfits don't bail them out by diving and allowing Faker to bail them out, they lose the series 3-1.
They, like you said, they overextended through and through. I mean, 23 minutes in, they were ahead 5-2 with a 2K gold lead. I mean, that's not a huge lead, but
Right.
it's enough.
Right.
They obviously
But
applied
then, like,
pressure in all the right
5
ways.
minutes later, it's a totally different story. SKT gets the ace on them and just proceeds to shove it down their throat. Like, they get the SKT picks up the second Baron. They got aced again at 36 minutes, and then they were able to move into the base and take it at 37. Like, SKT was not ahead until they won it. And
in true SKT fashion.
Yeah.
so, I mean,
I feel so bad for Misfits at the end of it.
yeah, no, that was a good game. That was a sad game. I was like, thank you for not fucking my bracket completely, because this is the only pick I actually
Fuck
got
you.
right.
Is it, oh, that is. This is the only quarterfinal he got right at all.
By the skin of your
I know.
balls.
Had Misfits won this and the other three went the way they did, he would have not gotten the icon.
I wouldn't have gotten the icon, and I would have been so sad.
He would have missed it by 2 points and been a blubbering little bitch on this couch.
I would have been so sad.
Yeah.
I already was sad. I was like, I watched the first set. I was like, shit, this isn't good.
That is the exact opposite of what I was hoping for. Yeah,
And then I look at it the next set, I'm like, shit, that was close. And then I thought that my next picks would just like fall into place.
Actually, to my point, now the reason I thought SKT would sweep Misfits was basically to just shut anything down in the picks and bans.
Oh.
But Misfits just came right out of left field.
Yeah, well, because game 2 they brought the Blitz, and
They
the
pulled out
quintessential...
we're gonna fuck with you and we're gonna fuck with you good. And they did.
There were plenty of great Blitz grabs, but I think the two absolute highlight moments that showed why SKT, and they banned at game 3, correct? I'm almost
Game 3,
positive they
Blitz.
banned Blitz first rotation.
That's game 4. Yes, game 3 banned.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, so
We'll waste our
there's
ban on
two two grabs that showed why SKT was forced to ban that. The one was when Faker came in at Baron Pit, that area. So he came in, and the team's chasing him into blue buff, and he Valkyries out, and he flashes, and he thinks he's away, and Ignar flashes over the blue and hooks him from the brush. Max range. I don't believe he had vision of Faker. Faker was near wolves. I don't think there was a ward there. So he just knew where he was exactly and nails it, and Faker dies. There's that one, and then when they were sieging bot inhib, he hooks Faker as Faker hits the Valk with his package, so he's going to go really far away, really fast. Hits him with it, and it shows there's the Valk line, like he Valked right at Blitzcrank because he didn't have a choice. He started Valking and went like a pixel or two and came straight into Misfits.
That sounds like something I need to draw a picture of. Just getting grabbed out of the sky.
Yeah, but those two hooks, when you can get Faker, and I'm sure Faker was the person he's like, we're fucking banning that.
Yeah.
Because they shit on you guys bot, and then he even got me, so fuck that. And then, they brought Leona and Ivern, and actually the Ivern pick was really smart, because, SKT, the smartest sub you can have, I think, right now with the way League works, is the jungle sub. Because what they do, they play Peanut, and then when they lose, they bring in Bengi. That's his name, right? Bang. Bengi. No,
Bang.
Blank?
Oh yeah,
Blank. Bengi was one back for them, I think. But Blank, yeah. So Blank, Bang's their AD carry. Blank, he's a really good tactician, and what he does, though, the first couple matches, he's back there with the coaching staff, and they're watching the match the same as everyone else is. So he gets to watch the enemy jungle routes. He gets to see, he likes to ward here, he goes here, he does this. Okay, first of all, Max Lore is a little unpredictable to begin with. So you're like, okay, but it's, Blank. Blank's gonna figure it out, right? pick Ivern. Ivern doesn't follow paths. He goes wherever the fuck he wants because he's not fighting the camps. It doesn't matter how hard it is to take. All you know he's going to do is take a buff with his smite, go somewhere, and then a little bit later take another buff with his smite. So Blank comes in going, okay, this is what his tendencies are. He picked Ivern. Well, fuck, guys, I guess we're winging it. And I think that's really, it was well thought out by Misfits, and I'm sure they had that planned. They had to have said, after we win one, when they bring in Blank, we are playing Ivern. I didn't almost guarantee that happened.
That hadn't, like, my ability to process the game
Right.
is not there yet, so... Like, but now that you're saying it makes sense. It's like, oh
shit, yeah,
no, because that is their jungle is their...
Yeah, because, I mean, think about that. If you're going to a game, you play Warwick. If you're going to a game and you're like, I know that fucker's going there, you're going to go there, right? You're like, if you know beforehand, you're like, if you watch 2 matches of your opponent beforehand, you're like, he likes to go here, then do this. I'm going to make sure I'm right on his tail, or I'm going to, like, gank the weak side he's leaving alone, or I'm going to steal these camps. And then he picks Ivern, and you're like, well, fuck, I don't know where he's going to be at all.
Yeah.
And even if you find him, he's just going to be root. Oh, and also, it worked really well with the Leona, because his root collar, he gets that root.
Worked
And
incredibly.
Leona, from now a large range distance, gets to click on the person and immediately get in melee with her stun. Like, that's so useful. It also allows her to close the gap on the rest of the enemy team, so she can throw a deeper ultimate into her Zenith Blade and get on everybody there. Like, it was a really great synergy. It worked on a lot of levels. I think that's probably one of the best pick bans we've seen so far in, like, Worlds. It was really masterfully like, put together.
Oh, and another unexpected synergy that I saw was after Misfits had taken Rift Herald. So they get their Rift Herald. I'm pretty sure they bring it mid. Then Ivern, he pulls Daisy up. The team effectively has 7 bodies to siege with.
And you got
It
two
was amazing.
minion tanks to soak up damage. Yeah, no, that I didn't even think about that. They did do that.
That
Yeah.
was so funny to watch.
God, they just needed a Mordekaiser and they could have got 8v5.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, great series out of Misfits. Game 4, the overdive at turret, and then Game 5 came and SKT played the best game they played all series.
They slowed it down.
Yes.
And they played a little bit more methodically. They
played the game they had to.
Yeah.
And it was still a close game. Like,
yeah, it was 6-6. Like they tied it up for kills. Like I didn't get what the gold lead was, but
yeah.
No. Like,
and it went over 30-35, didn't it? What did it go to?
37.
Yeah.
But I mean, the last game where
Well, that one went so
SK
long because they threw.
yeah.
They should have been over 10 minutes prior to that with Misfit. Well, 5 minutes because they should have taken in him, reset, come back.
Yeah.
Still.
But no, SKT slowed this one down and they were able to take the series with it.
Yeah. I mean, good on SKT. I honestly don't know if the better team won or not. I'm not sure who's the better team in that because SKT in Game 5 really did show their ability to control and slow down a match. But Misfits has a lot going for them as well. I think they were evenly matched teams as the score showed.
I'd venture to say that SKT is the better team overall, but Misfits sure as hell baked their noodle on this one.
I think
Misfits is way more fun.
They are so much more fun.
I think if you would have moved Misfits into any other one of the brackets, like, they would have gone a lot farther than what
I
they
don't
did.
know. I think SKTWE, I think, were the weakest teams going in. That was my opinion before the bracket quarterfinals, and it still is. Longzhu didn't show up, but I think that also had partly to do with who they played.
Sure.
I do not think SKT... I mean, we'll get there, but I don't feel good about SKT going forward. I'll tell you that right now. I think our one Latin American North... I don't know if you saw this. They talked about it in the broadcast. The pick'ems. There's one person who had a perfect bracket after the Longzhu upset. There's still one person with a perfect bracket. He has SKT winning it all. So it's possible this guy in the Latin American North server could have a perfect...
One
and that includes the
person
group stage and
traveled
everything.
back in time
Oh, wow.
to just fuck with
Yeah,
everyone.
he had all the group stage right, and he has all the quarterfinals right so far.
That guy plays a shit ton of League.
No, I mean, you gotta guess. I mean, because it's got all the upsets in it, man.
That's...
Like, nobody could guess that. I mean, it's like predicting a perfect March Madness bracket. You have as good of a chance of picking it based upon colors and mascots as you do from teams, you know? Like, yeah, you can go, okay, 1 and 2 ranks, there's gonna be, 3 of those in the final 4. Bullshit if you're gonna pick all the fucking upsets.
Yeah.
You can't tell me somebody who just knows a lot about League was gonna be like, okay, Misfits and Fnatic are definitely taking second in their groups. Like, fuck you! Come on!
Although it's fun to imagine what that guy looks like. He's probably like overweight, has glasses and a skullet. And he's just crunching the numbers on a graph.
He looks like fucking Tyler 1. He's walking around and he's always like, you got a perfect bracket. Fuck you, where's bitches at? Doesn't
Somebody
even
probably
care.
let their kid just click.
Yeah, right?
Like, that's the only explanation, considering there's only one.
My brother-in-law, Sean, his daughter Ainsley has beaten him in the March Madness bracket several times. She is 6. She's only done like 3 brackets. And she just he goes, this one or that one, and she pointed for the first couple, and she beat him in one of those. He's like, yeah, when a child who can't read beats you, you know you're not doing well yourself. But yeah, congratulations to SKT and all. Sad day for Misfits. I would have liked to see him go forward, especially
Two Misfits.
to Misfits.
Our fallen brethren.
Guys, to Bunny skins in
Next
Season 8.
year.
I still think that Blue Dragon skins is a missed opportunity.
I think Bunny and Blue Bunny Dragons. No. Okay, hey, quick rundown. All the quarterfinal teams, what their skins would be: Longzhu would have been Blue Dragons, which is awesome. Samsung Galaxy, they're just colors and like sharp lines. Cloud9.
They need to play Braum so we can get a whole like Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge as a shield.
Cloud9 would have been Cloud skins. WE will be like pointy and like red and white, which could be cool too. Misfits, fucking bunnies with like an eye patch and like punk clothes. SKT, we've seen the SKT stuff, so everybody knows what that shit looks like. Fnatic, orange and black, and their logo. And then what the fuck, dog? And then RNG, black and gold. Honestly, I think we lost the 2 best ones already: Dragons and Rabbits.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Damn it, Longzhu, killing me here.
Or if we're going way back,
Way
Lions. Lions!
They're like, every skin, what do you want it to look like? Obviously put a mane on it. Okay, what else? Fucking just put a mane on it, okay?
Lee Sin with a mane.
Tristana. Heimerdinger. No hair up here, all the hair right here.
I would buy Heimerdinger to buy that skin.
Also, if we're gonna go back to play-ins, Chaos Latin Gaming, everything's a rhino.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, so many things that will never be.
Gambit. And Communist Summoner's Rift. Support kills you. Alright, let's go ahead and move on then. And we followed that up with Fnatic RNG.
Sad day.
Our picks for that were 1-3 Fnatic. Going for that risky upset.
But Fnatic.
It didn't seem like a huge
Fnatic all the way.
stretch.
1-3 3-1 Fnatic. Come on, it's a bit of a stretch.
They showed up.
I said
showed
3-0 RNG. Had the team right. Somebody had exactly right. 3-1 RNG. Nailed it. Yo.
Yo.
How many assholes we get on this shit? Yo. Alright. But yeah, so Fnatic, I think really, so they didn't look, I'm gonna go all the way back. They didn't look fantastic against Young Generation. Granted, their second game against them, when they lost, didn't matter anymore, but they also should have lost their first game against them.
One last little diversion of topic.
Yeah.
So for them, it would have been a team of all bulls, right? Against Young Generation.
Yes. It would
That
have
would
been.
have also been awesome.
They put horns on every champ, and since
Did they play Alistar?
He's got a
I don't know if they did.
All right, sorry. Back to
It would have been like Mundo. It would have been Alistair. He's wearing like a Viking helmet on, so he's got 2 sets of horns. No, so Fnatic. Okay, young generation. They should have lost the first game. They did lose the second game, which didn't matter. So take that as you will. They played Hong Kong attitude to get in. Hong Kong attitude was not great.
Weeks?
No, because I'm working through here.
Okay.
So they didn't look amazing in plans. Yeah, they beat Hong Kong attitude. So did Fenerbahce with a substitute jungler. Okay, and no offense to Fenerbahce, they did look like
we pour one out for you.
Fenerbahce looked like a good, reasonable team. So then we go into the group stage, and they 0-3 week 1. Then they lose to Longzhou, which was expected to go 0-4. They only beat Immortals because of a fat finger bot lane. Like, they lose a fight, they're running away, and Tristana flashes, and she means to ult the team away, right? And she flashes in and ults the one forward, which kills her, as well as, I think Pobelter was running with her, I don't remember, it might have been the support. Excuse me, the support. The support. So the 2 people who are alive on their team die because instead of just hitting R, he hits R and F. And actually in the other order, F and R. Actually, it wouldn't matter. I don't know how that skill works. If it fires immediately, there's slightly a wind up, so it wouldn't matter. But either way, so a fat finger causes everything to go wrong, and Fnatic wins on that like push right there. If they don't, they're still down like 5k with Immortals having the better late game team. Granted, they then do go to beat Gigabyte, which I felt like they should have anyway, and then beat Immortals again handily, and then edge out Gigabyte. Gigabyte could have won that fucking match too and made it to here. I'm not surprised they lost. Congratulations to them on making it this far. They're not a bad team, but they're not as good as RNG. RNG lost just to G2, and they had a Samsung Galaxy who 3-0'd freaking Longzhou, and Fenerbahce, which, you know, it's Fenerbahce, but still. Fnatic's great. I love Reckless, so as he can be a salty little bitch sometimes, but I like the guy too. But they need more on that team to try and challenge a team like RNG.
I think that it comes down to like their team plays. None of their team plays were all that great.
No, they're not.
And so they need to get their 5v5s down. If they get their 5v5s down, this would have been a very different outcome.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to, can Reckless make this work for us? If not, we lose. And to be fair, Soaz did carry some shit hard recently. He did play very well, but he's also played really badly at times. And I feel like that also... You know, the Soaz show is always these, like, ridiculous escapes in a 3v1 scenario, and they're sick, and you love them, and they're amazing. But if he's doing that and the rest of the team isn't capitalizing or Reckless, then
I mean,
what
we
good
saw
was
the
it?
Trundle game 1. That probably wasn't the best pick they could have made. I mean, the bans didn't really go with picking a Trundle.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand that game 2. Reckless on the Vayne, that seemed like a missed pick there.
Yeah, I think that was a bit odd. It's
So
not
I
really
mean,
his pick.
there wasn't really any reason to pick the Vayne.
I feel like Vayne came out, and every pro AD carry wants to play Vayne. Because Vayne is that pick when you become a good AD carry that you shit on everybody who's not like challenger tier player, and you just rise up. You're like, I'm going to fuck on everyone. So they all miss it. They miss it so bad.
I was gonna say, in this late game, and particularly late game with Cho'Gath in the comp sort of meta, I thought Vayne wasn't like a batshit crazy choice. Like,
Right.
Well, they were playing
if it's a late,
Soraka on the other side too, both the first and the second game.
if it's a late game meta, why not pick the latest?
I feel like it's not that late game of a meta, though. Because if you think about it, who's been the most dominant AD carry?
Tristana.
What does Tristana excel at? Pushing wave, taking down turret fast. Because the passive on her E, whenever you kill a minion, it does an AoE pop and it hurts anything around it. And then her E active allows her to take down turrets really fast. And everybody's rushing Ardent Sensor, which is an early game item, really, because the stats on it don't scale. That 25% attack speed is flat, so you want it early. And the magic damage, that's why everybody's rushing it right away. And the first team who can get to it, if you get it and the other team doesn't, you have this huge early game advantage, especially on somebody like a Caitlyn or a Tristana. So yeah, while we're seeing some teams play the late game meta, which is it's the standard meta from Korea past, and it's always been, I don't think this meta. I think this meta is very mid game right now. The teams who are winning and looking good are winning at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand. If you can drag that game out, Vayne, fuck yeah. Especially burning through the Cho'Gath with that true damage on her Silverbolt's proc. Absolutely.
Yeah, like,
I don't think it's a bad pick.
Particularly with Warmogs. I mean, then your Vayne isn't tied into getting, like, a Mortal Reminder or something like that to reduce healing.
Yeah.
You can just shred the bastard by building a couple Zeal items.
Yeah, I do think the downside of the Vayne, and the reason the Vayne, without other bans in control, the reason she won't come through is just she has a smaller auto attack range. Because the other champions we're working with, Caitlyn and Tristana, have the longest in the game.
Yeah.
Outside of Jinx's rockets.
This meta isn't
She has no
super
escapes.
kind to, like, those little skirmishes and duels.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
You open up the map and then you go into team fights.
If
and-
anyone's gonna win on a Vayne, it's gonna be Uzi. Because it's fucking Uzi. And I think that also played into not helping Fnatic.
Well, game 3,
It's Uzi,
game
man.
3, they let RNG take the Galio mid. Like, that's probably the first Galio mid we've seen.
Lose? Yeah. Oh no, it was game 3 is when they lost, right?
Yeah, they did lose that one.
Because they picked the Mal's counter,
Yeah, they picked them out.
and I gotta say, okay, so Caps, he's a rookie. Like, I mean, he was in Spring Split as well. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he was at MSI or not MSI. He was at Rift Rivals and all that. I guess that'd be Summer Split. I don't know. Well, either way, Caps is a rookie. He was, heralded. The joke name for him was like Baby Faker, and so the dude, he got great experience this year. He did great things. His Malzahar was fantastic, and I do see good things for him going forward. I think Fnatic has a bright future. If Reckless continues to play, I hope the guy doesn't retire. Reckless and Caps, though.
Did you see his thing saying that this might be my last year?
He had said that like before Worlds, yeah.
Well,
He
he
said
said
again
it.
after.
I said it again.
Yeah,
after
I
the
know. I
loss.
hope he doesn't. I'll get
I
more of that.
agree,
After we
but-
finish the series, I'll say something
But
more
no.
on
So like,
Reckless.
where I was going with that, like, is that RNG picked like a very unconventional comp that everyone else has been playing. They
Mm-hmm.
had the Galio mid. They had the Morgana support.
Yeah, the
and-
Morgana's a bit odd in that, because usually you have the Lulu Jana, but I think they were banned out that game.
And Fnatic just couldn't. Oh no, Fnatic like shat on that game. But
Yeah. What was the AD carry they brought? Was it the Cog or no?
yeah, they had the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, because so the reason that comp partly didn't work though, so you have the Galio, the Cog, and Morgana, whereas normally you have the Lulu or Janna, which both were banned out, I believe, by Fnatic. Did they ban both of them?
Lulu, Caitlyn.
Lulu, Janna, first 2 bans. Yep, there we go. So you ban those Ardent sensor supports, and getting shields that are general shields, as opposed to Morgana, which is a magic only shield. So if you're hitting her with an 80 carry or an 80, did they have an 80 jungle named J4? No, Jarvan, RNG had that. They had Sejuani. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just the Varus. Oh, and Gnar. So you have 80 damage still coming in, and the Black Shield doesn't give a dick. Like, doesn't care about that. It doesn't do anything. And so yeah, the Morgana is not as good of a pick. I see what they're trying. I think Karma probably would have suited them better, and still could have made the Cog really hard to kill. But the Malzahar was really the crux of that. The Malzahar.
Sadly, I
crap
think
about, though.
that I think that Fnatic won because RNG picked poorly.
They banned well though.
Banned well, picked poorly.
No. I mean, Fnatic banned well to force poor picks.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if they don't
Okay,
ban
yeah.
Lulu Janna there, Galio Cog and Janna Lulu, like that 3 setup, that's possible, and we've seen that, and it's been really dominant. But yeah,
When that was a 54-minute game, so like
It
it wasn't even like I was watching this game and I was like, holy shit, what are we doing here, guys?
dude,
Like,
that's what Fnatic they talked about during the broadcast. Fnatic loves that EU Clown Fiesta, just chaos style.
so I mean,
They're good at it.
Fnatic won just because RNG played poorly. Don't get me wrong, I like Fnatic. I have them.
Yeah,
I had them going farther than what they
you
did.
did.
But crap, this was not good. Like this was like RNG just played really, really poorly. Like I feel like there might be a GIF of them just going like this on their keyboards.
RNG, I think, by my opinion, has been consistently the most consistent and best team at this World so far.
You picked appropriately. Like, I mean, I love Fnatic, but you're right. Like,
and the Ardent sensor meta favors a really good AD carry like Uzi. Uzi's problems in the past have been that he gets emotional, people can get in his head, and he tilts. And the kid's grown up. I mean, that's what it was. He was really young. He kind of rage and he'd get pissed off, and he would get over aggressive to try and get shit. And now he's just sitting back. He's like, "No, we're good. Give me that shield. I'm gonna fuck people up." And he's doing it. And he's doing really well. I think so. We have these two matches. Them heading into SKT now. Watching those two teams play, I don't see any chance SKT beats them unless they freaking get it together at a high level between now and then. Because SKT
they're
missed
still sandbagging, I hope.
If they're not, they're going to get destroyed.
Oh.
I mean, we'll get to picks on this, but RNG looked really good. And granted, I think Misfits are better than Fnatic. I mean, they were the number 2 seed over Fnatic for a reason. But RNG, like you said, I think they got put into some bad picks, and they didn't necessarily play well. And Fnatic did play their best game that game, but they lost in an almost hour-long match. They have 2 losses. One to G2, I don't remember how long that was, and one to almost an hour-long to Fnatic in a bad matchup, like, picks-wise. That's a good team!
Game
That's
4
a
for
very good
Fnatic
team.
RNG went 40 minutes and 8 seconds, and it was a 10-8 kill split, so it was another, like, long, slow game. And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it was... I thought Fnatic had a chance, but...
I did too. Like, neither one of them were playing very well that 4th game, but RNG played the better game.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I gotta say, we came all the way from week 1 of groups, shaking our heads at Fnatic for disappointing, to they made it out. And they took a game off a team that is looking to possibly be the favorites to win it all. I can't fault them for that.
I wouldn't change things. I hope they don't have to face the play-ins next year.
Right. Between them and Misfits, and it's sad that Misfits didn't win because it was just an overdive from winning. EU had an amazing showing this tournament.
Yes, they did.
Easily number 3 region. Easily. And honestly, depending on how round 2 goes, just because 2 Korean teams made the semis, I don't know that they had a better showing than EU, maybe. Like, because G2 just ended up in the wrong group. I would put them almost even. Like, I think it's funny, you might be aware of this phrase, it's kind of been a joke forever, is like, the gap is closing, the gap between Korea and everyone else, and this Worlds has shown that, I think.
Yeah.
Because we don't know about Samsung Galaxy, and I don't think we will until the final, honestly. Just because we haven't gotten there, but Cloud9, WE, I don't think either of those teams look super amazing by any means. I don't think they look as good as RNG, Misfits, whatever. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. But hats off to Fnatic on a great Worlds. I hope Reckless stays around. God, again. I hope Reckless stays around. I don't know if you guys saw. So they always do like the winning team. They come by, they shake hands. The winning team does a bow, and then a little bit later, the team that's going out, they've come out and done a bow as well, like during the quarters here. And Reckless just like he couldn't. I mean, I'm sure you could say wouldn't, but I'm sure he couldn't get up from his chair. He sat there. The team went out, bowed as 4, and left. Uzi came out, did his interview. Reckless is still in his chair. There's shots of Reckless at his chair like that, just sitting there, and Uzi's up front with the dude interviewing him. After all that's said and done, Reckless finally got it, enough together, went out front and bowed the crowd.
Well, it was disappointing. I mean, Fnatic was definitely my favorite going into that.
Yeah, and Reckless is loved in China too. So there's a player who used to be AD carry in China, Wei Xiao, and they call him European Wei Xiao. They love him. That's why he did the whole however you do it, the heart thing.
I thought it was 2 fingers.
I think it's like this. Yeah.
Okay.
The little heart thing it looks like a heart. That's a sign in China. So he did that at the intros of the whole tournament. And like so when he went out, he like did bows and whatnot. But like, and they were chanting. I can't. It's like Chung Pei or something or whatever, which is European Wish. And so like they were chanting his name when the team was like trying to get him to get up and couldn't do it. And then like of course they chanted again like when he came out and bowed. And
well, like I said, he said before the game started that this might be his last one, so he hopes that they win it.
Yeah,
and like
he's good enough. He should come back.
He is good enough. I think their team might need a little bit of a tweak.
They do.
And I don't know where to tweak it at. Like I don't want to make that critique right now.
Brox is new. He needs a lot of work. I think Soaz might be done. I think Soaz, while he's good, is a little too inconsistent, and I think it might be time for him. Who's their support? I'm forgetting it all of a sudden now.
On Fnatic, we've got
Reckless.
Jace's.
Jez's is alright.
He's not
but
been...
I think it comes down to Soaz they need to bring somebody else in, and Brox is new. He got brought in at the split, so he could have a lot of improvement. If he doesn't have a lot of improvement, he's the other weak link for them right now. But I do hope Reckless stays. He's easily still like a top 4 AD carry in Europe. There's no reason for him to leave.
Oh, yeah.
Well, evidently top 4... Or, sorry, yeah, I guess. Not top 4 in the world. He's technically top 8 in the world.
Right. And he really did. He was one of the 80 carries at this tournament who really showed up. Because we can look at SKT who won, and their bot lane blank. No, absolutely. Or Bang. Yeah.
Blank was there.
Yeah, jungler. Bang. I would not say Bang is one of the best 80 carries at this tournament. Uzi, yes. Misfit, Hansama, looked really good.
Hansama looked damn
so
good.
we got the first, if we go top to bottom in the bracket here, we got SKT, Misfits, Hansama, yes. Bang, no. We look at this, 2 great 80 carries. Uzi and Reckless, both. If we look in Cloud9 WE, there's only one good 80 carry in that, and it's Sneaky, and he's still not one of the best. He's really good, but he's not one of the best. And then we look at Longzhu and Samsung, and they have good 80 carries, but they're not great. So, yes, Reckless is he's top 10 in the world, I'm sure. Because you can put Double Lift in that conversation too. He did not show up at Worlds, but he's still a really good 80 carry. And there's some in other regions too, and we can get into that. But I really hope Reckless doesn't retire because I don't think it's time for him to. I think he's still there. They just need more team around him, and I hope he can come back from this stronger and better.
Yeah, agreed. Like I said,
Clean.
there's no reason.
It was amazing.
It dropped like that.
You're going to have to replay that when you upload
Look
this.
at
I saw it happen.
You're like, oh, yeah.
No, I'm saying that there's no reason... There's no reason that they need to go through the play-ins again next year. They're a good team.
They need to be better in the playoffs. They were number 3 out of Europe. Let's not be kidding ourselves.
You're right.
G2 and Misfits were better teams this year. I think even at Worlds, like G2 just ended up in a rough group. I hope they avoid the play-ins, but yeah. All right, so so that matches
brings us
that match.
to WE Cloud9.
WE Cloud9. Our predictions were as follows: 3-1 Cloud9, 3-1 Cloud9, 3-2 Cloud9. I should have been right. Cloud9.
Good old...
Damn it.
All right.
So this comes down to Game 1. Cloud9 takes a commanding lead early.
Yup.
They are up, what? 5k, 10k at 15 minutes? I think it's like 5k at 15. Something stupid.
Yep.
And they proceed to do absolutely nothing for 5 minutes. They push in the lanes a little bit, take the jungle camps, back and buy, or just back off and ward. And then they do it again, and again, and again, for 5 minutes. That's 10 waves of accomplishing nothing. The minute they took that third outer turret, they had no idea what to do with themselves, and they pissed that lead down their leg. Absolutely. I was mad while it was happening, and they lost.
No, that was really the gist of it.
54 minutes.
54
minutes of my
They
life.
should have won the game in 25, and it took them another half an hour after when they should have won it to lose it.
Now,
Yeah.
it's hard to say as someone that wasn't an actual player in that game, but I don't know if like Cloud9 just got too much too early, and then
Somewhat, yes.
And then, like, you know, when you lose all your outer turrets, your sphere of influence is a lot more restricted. It's a lot easier for you to rotate and defend what few assets you have left.
Yeah.
Like, that was something that I took note of during this game. But I've made no secret that I'm not the biggest Cloud9 fan.
No.
I was rooting for Cloud9 just because WE did exactly what I've always accused them of doing
They're
the
slow.
whole damn series, and they bored me to tears.
Yeah.
Cloud9 picked an unconventional early game comp. They were proactive. They forced fun plays. They were fun to watch. And then WE's just like, okay, guys, rotate, wait till 4 minutes, and scale.
So, okay, these are the other two teams that came from the playing stage, because we had 3 of them here. Let's back up. WE they won their group pretty easily, but they didn't look amazing in it, right? They looked alright. I remember saying that and playing. Cloud9 looked really dominant. They had the one questionable one where they were behind, and then they, like, turned it on and won at 26 or whatever. It was stupid. Okay, we go to groups. WE, okay, first of all, TSM crap in the bed, and Fnatic wasn't, or not Fnatic.
Too soon. It's too soon to talk about TSM.
It's never too soon to talk about that team shitting themselves at Worlds.
Too soon.
I'll talk about them doing it next year, because they're going to do it next year, too.
Not our official
They're going to
guesses.
take, they're
Please,
going to
please
take
don't do
top
it again.
3 in NA, because they always do. They take top 2 in the past, 8 splits now. And then they shit themselves at any international competition. I gotta hand it to you, though, Doublelift, just yesterday, tweeted out something. It was our strategy at Worlds, and it was the Steam page for Farm Simulator. So they are self-aware in what happened. They're like, hey, we should get all this gold, and let the other team take everything, which is also worth gold, turns out. Whoops. But okay, so WE and Cloud9. Cloud9 looked better in the group, or in the playing stage. WE,
I think they looked better in these games.
right? Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna get to. So then we go to the group stage. Cloud9 looked okay, but you could tell what it was is they weren't executing on their early game pressure that they were doing well with, and.
Again,
honestly,
these are our sandbaggers. These are the ones that we knew they were underperforming.
And honestly,
At least we
EDG,
hoped they were.
coming out of Group A, EDG was the better team. They just didn't get their shit together. They got it together a week too late. If EDG has their shit together week 1, SKT, EDG come out of the group, maybe in the other order, and Cloud9's never this far. WE makes it out because their group underperformed horribly. Kind of the same thing that we saw with Longzhu, where it just ended up being 3 kind of weak teams overall. I think honestly ended up being 4 fairly weak teams. I think Misfits, had they found their stride earlier, could have maybe taken first in this group. But, so we see WE, I was not impressed with it. I think going in the quarterfinals, WE is the weakest team, followed shortly by SKT. That's what I said last week, and I think I was proven pretty right, out of the 1 seeds, specify. Mm-hmm. So we see Cloud9 come in here. Game 1, they should have won. And they had a Caitlyn and a 5k lead, and they had a Ardent Sensor comp too, didn't they? Who they have? Lulu? Yeah, Caitlyn, Lulu. You had a Shen. Oh, they pulled out the Aurelion Sol, which was fucking surprise pick. I was streaming it live, and the minute he locked on Aurelion Sol, I'm like, I don't think he's ever played Aurelion Sol. I don't think he's played at least this whole year. And then the casters came through, and they're like, this is his first ever. We confirmed it. He's never played Aurelion Sol in competitive. And he played. Awesome. He played really well. He
did.
And they got everything, and so then they get to this mid game where Aurelion Sol clears waves. He threatens deep because of his stars. He can poke. You have Shen for the ult if he dives in, and Aurelion Sol built tanky, which is kind of what you do with Aurelion Sol. And then you have Lulu to keep Caitlyn alive, unless you go for forever and she can get 2-shot, which is what fucking happened. Oh, and you've got Jarvan for the dive. What they should have been doing was Aurelion Sol and Shen go out to the side lanes, push those waves, come back mid. You've laid the Caitlyn traps, so the team can't follow you if you retreat, and you take down the turret. You have to take a tier 2. If you've taken all of tier 1, you have this lead, you have a Caitlyn, and they have a Kog'Maw. You cannot just wait it out and be like, well, we're just going to extend our gold lead. No, you have to open up the map. You take that mid turret, it's super easy now to take the sides because the rotations favor you. Because you can rotate along that base wall, and they can't defend. But they failed to do it. They kept going 1-3-1 and just going waves, jungle, waves, jungle. They never put pressure onto the mid, and it failed them tremendously.
And wasted 54 minutes.
Yeah, it wasted a half an hour of our fucking lives, and then we see game 2 and game 3 where Cloud9 goes, "Oh, we should use our early leads and do something," and they shit on them.
Yep. I mean, game 2 went 31, almost 32 minutes, and they played coherently, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
They did. Like,
And
they
to be
got
fair,
their shit
game
together.
1, if Sneaky doesn't get 2-shot by the Kog'Maw when they do finally fight mid, they win that game.
I mean,
It was so close. He got, it was 3-shot because it was
WE
an auto the
got
thing
their
and
Janna for
the
their first
alt
pick,
lands.
and that opened up Jarvan and Caitlyn for Cloud9, and then they picked the Kog'Maw into the Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like Kog'Maw's a fairly decent counter to Caitlyn. I mean, at least if you let him be.
Right, yeah. Caitlyn's earlier, but Kog'Maw he's bigger.
And he scales. Like, he's just going to keep getting bigger.
Mm-hmm. And his ult allows him to keep more zone control than Caitlyn can.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, they picked the Kog'Maw into the Caitlyn, and it worked out for him. I mean, I feel like that's basically what it came down to.
Yeah.
The casters used the word greedy. Which
for which game? 1? Or?
For game 1, yeah. Like, and I think, like, they made it so blatantly obvious they were gonna do classic WE and just scale late. They had a Cho'Gath, they had a Corki mid who took Cull,
Yeah.
the item that you stack through farm.
And
they picked Kog'Maw into Caitlyn. Like, if I wasn't rooting so hard and so expectant of Cloud9 to just steamroll them within the first half an hour...
Which they did.
They
Which
should have.
They steamrolled them in the first
20.
And then it got away from them.
And then, yeah, once we reached half an hour, I was just like, they're gonna pull a WE.
Yeah.
And they...
And they
then the
still
match
almost
went
won
like twice as long.
So okay, stats are skewed because
I
of
watched it. It
meta's
was sad.
Stats are skewed because items, champion scalings, and stats, and metas change, and we have the Ardent Sensor meta right now. But that game 1, Sneaky, is the most damage per minute in a Worlds game ever.
I did see...
So his damage divided by the length of that game, and it also plays into him fighting against like a Cho'Gath. So there's a lot of damage he can put out because there's lots on the board. But Sneaky played his ass off trying to keep that team alive.
Thus, the justification for saying Cloud9 played better.
Cloud9 was the better team. I'm going to say
They
it
were
right
the
now.
better team.
The better team lost this morning.
I woke up very sad.
I watched it and went to sleep very sad. It's fucking 7 a.m. bullshit I stayed up for.
Which I didn't really think about. That means we would have been doing this stream at 7 a.m. this morning. And that had not crossed my mind that I would have to pull an all-nighter to do that last night. So I'm really glad it didn't work
Probably
out.
would have taken a nap between 11 and 2 when the matches started, let's be honest.
Between 11 and 2?
You would
No.
have ate
I
a bunch of
would've been
wings, drank some beer,
I'd
curled
have
up on
been
my
like,
fucking couch.
I'm gonna drink beers. I'm gonna keep drinking beers. I'm too drunk to do this now, guys. I'm sorry.
Would have been a better podcast. Alright, so yeah, game 2 though, Cloud9 takes to them the way they should have. Game 3, they take it to them the way they should have. Game 4...
24 minutes. They took it to him quick and hard. It was a very decisive game.
And what was the beautiful pick that came out in these games? We've talked about so far. Alessandra, Malzahar, Leona with
saw the
Fervor.
Singed twice.
Impact Singed. Glorious Impact
We
Singed.
saw 2 Singed, and they did very well with it. And then they banned Singed in Game 5, and then they're like, shit, our ace in the hole is dead.
I'm not sure if it's been played in between, but when Impact was last known for playing Singed, it might have been the last time he played it in Pro. Do you know when that was? Season
you need
3.
to point that way.
Season 3, when he won the World Championship with SKT.
And we have a
It's
Singed
been
skin.
4 years. This is 4 years ago that he played it, and he played Singed.
I miss Singed.
And he played it.
We played against the Singed the other night.
And we crapped on it. Because I taught him, I was like, it's gonna proxy farm. Just come and gank him. We'll kill him like 3 times, and then he'll be worthless. And he was. It was... And you were fed and I was fed, and everybody was happy and the kingdom rejoiced.
Side note, the single best Singed game I have ever had, I went 0-9. But I farmed super well, and they had to send like 3 people at a time to deal with me, and I was worthless after the 4th kill.
So yeah, I was gonna say, this was a while ago before they fixed... So, Proxy Singed caused them to change the game slightly. So it used to be that the base value for a kill was much lower than it is now. Because, like, it starts at 300, and then if somebody dies a bunch, like, it can go lower. And it might just, like, be 300 all the time now. But it used to be, like, you would get, like, 75 or 100 gold for killing somebody. So Singe was like, fuck that. I get over 100 gold off a wave. Fucking kill me. See if I give a shit. I'm just gonna run back to lane with my Swifties. And that's what you would do. So they would come and kill you, and you would earn more gold than they would.
The only reason that strategy didn't work for me, by the way, was because there was a suicidal Evelyn that I kept killing, and I became worth gold again.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. The hard proxy sin strat is you don't take it. Like if you get behind to start with, you don't take any kills until you have like a significant gold lead, and then you start getting kills when it matters so much that they won't be able to kill you afterwards. But like the super hardcore was you go into their base. Because where minions come out of the Nexus, you can actually get 2 waves to follow you because they're not far enough apart. You can like run back and forth real quick, and they'll both join you. And so you can cut mid and top at the same time. So neither of their teams or neither of their laners are getting minions to their turret, so you can push both turrets. It's ridiculous. Which is why I was like, when we played that game, I was like, come up here, we're gonna fucking take care of this. Because if you let it get out of hand, it will get out of hand. The difference with Impact playing it is. Game 2 he played against, or game 1 or 2 he played against a Maokai. I'm sorry, 2 or 3. Which one did he play against?
He played against the Maokai in game 2.
And game 3? Or that's when they took Maokai in the jungle, which was
oh yeah,
not a great draft. WE, that's one of the worst drafts. But yeah, but he beat the crap out of his laner. So then when he was proxying, he was already ahead, which made him pretty much impossible to deal with.
Yep.
And WE said it. They said going their top laner, 957. I think it was the 957, or maybe it was Mystic said it. One of them said though going into game 4, they said they're like I demanded that we banned Singed. So one of them was just like, no, fuck this. Like I don't know if it was the coach was going to do it anyway, but one of the players was like, we're banning Singed, and everyone's like, okay. He's like, no, we're banning Singed.
And that was game 5.
Well, game 4 it was banned. Wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, it was banned in the second.
Right, well, because they didn't pick him in the first... They never picked him in the first rotation. It was always second. And it was blind both times. Because generally you're like, oh, we picked Singed as a counter. And he's like, nah, fuck it, I got this.
And the
he
crowd
did.
goes fucking wild.
In game 4, Cloud9 could have won as well. It was a close game.
I put that it was WE secured it, but it was a sloppy play by Cloud9, and WE just punished him for it.
Yeah. Although, one other thing of note was the game 3, I believe. Yeah. So, I think game 3 is what made anyone in the tournament who wasn't aware already, and definitely WE, that Tristana is the priority pick in the game right now. Her and Galio. Because they went into that with Tristana... Or no... Yeah, because they went Tristana Janna into a Caitlyn, right? Yeah, Caitlyn Lulu. So Caitlyn Lulu, super early push, super early dominant. And they got 2-0'd in that, but like, there was that gank, and it was beautiful. Okay, you said you like, I made note earlier, when you're like, I hate the Janna. I'm like, you despise seeing this. There was the one thing that made it worthwhile, though, is when that gank came bot, and Smoothie played that gank perfectly. I don't know if you saw it. You need to go back and look at it. Game 3, the Jace comes down, and, like, they're low, and they're like, fuck, They run back into they had already pushed up, so they're running back into the bush by the enemy turret, that, further away bush. Smoothie knows there's not a ward in it. He starts his tornado quick. Jace comes in with the hammer, monsoons him away. He comes back, or he flashes, he monsoons. Jace comes back in with the hammer, he releases the tornado, gets all 3 with it. They end up turning a 2 for none out of it, and force the Lulu all the way, sprinting the fuck down the lane.
That's beautiful.
And I'm sorry, but the Tristana Janna, like, as good as that lane is, technically, you pick the Caitlyn Lulu to win the early lane.
Oh, yeah.
And they got trashed in a 2-0 with the gank. Actually, I think they might have lost a 2-0 before that, and then they lost that one too. Like, they got trashed bot lane by the Tristana Lulu, or Tristana Janna, and they banned Tristana there on out. W's like, no, we're not giving it to Sneaky. They didn't give it to him in Game 4. They didn't give it to him in Game 5. They kept the Singed away. I'm pretty sure they banned Singed and Tristana in Game 4. Let me double check that, though. Yep, Tristana was a first round ban. Singed was second. And then last game, Tristana was the very first ban. Singed was first and second round. Yeah. And I think they kept Syndra away all 5 games. Oh, no, they didn't ban it Game 4. Which I was a little odd that I feel like Jensen could have just jumped onto his comfort. But yeah, so, I mean, Game 4 was close. It didn't work out. Game 5, Cloud9, their brains shut off in pick ban. This is the worst pick ban we've seen all Worlds, I think. They gave over the Janna, Galio, and Cog.
Oh.
All 3 of those in first round. You can't give it. You've got to ban one of those, or you have to take one of those. We've seen Jensen play the Galio, so it's not like he can't. He played it in the play-in. Granted, it was play-in, but he played it really well then. You're giving over Janna Lulu Cog. Late game, there's a series where I see the Kog'Maw is kind of out of place. I'm like, oh, Sedge could ult him. Sure enough, she does. She ults him. They follow up with the Shockwave. They hit him with everything. And he gets the Janna shield. He gets the Galio ult in. The Ardent Sensor proc from the Janna shield. At the end of he took the initial Sejuani damage of her, like, diving in on him. He had, say, 1,500 health. He took about, like, 400, right? By the end of it all, he had taken that 400 damage. Everything else they threw at him, a full Orianna Shockwave, with the dissonance and the move, all of that did 0 damage to him, and then his first hit afterwards, of course, he heals, and he's at 14 again. You can't give over that combo. Because the Cog is just going to be shielded up and protected to hell, and he doesn't have to worry. He was completely out of position, and it didn't fucking matter. It wasn't even close. It wasn't like he got out there with 200 health. He was just like, yeah, blah, 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 who cares? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Like, what the fuck, man?
I mean, this was another game that Cloud9 just let slip away. They didn't play poorly, they just couldn't close anything.
They had no chance, though, from the pick ban, honestly. Had they picked better, they either had to win that game immediately, because they had the great TP bot, where they had basically, they put themselves in a 5v3, and they destroyed the other team, which was great. But outside of that, they didn't have a whole lot going for them. And it drove me nuts. Like, I understand you're afraid of the bot lane because they also gave over the Gragas jungle, and he has really early ganking potential. But when you're counting on that bot lane to get ahead because you took the Caitlyn again, and you're against that late game comp with the Galio, the Janna, the Kog'Maw being protected by all that, and a Gnar in the top lane, we've talked about this earlier. Gnar's going to be a hell of a pick going forward. I think he's a hell of a pick now. I would have liked to see...
Well, they did play him in Game 5. And...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would have liked to see Impact take Gnar there, actually, because then you would have at least had a little more, like, poke and shit you could throw in. But I understand the Shen pick. It's a great pick for him, and he did really well on it. But, so they gave all that over, and you have the Sedge, like, I understand being afraid of the Gragas, but you know what? You gotta show up bot. You gotta do it. And Contracts, it was probably one of the more passive games he's played. And they, 15 minutes in, it was pretty much decided. It took forever for Smoothie to get Ardent Sensor because they couldn't get anything going bot. Like, he backed twice, I think, after WE had Ardent Sensor on the Kog'Maw. It's like, well, it's a Janna Cog and Ardent Sensor with the Galio threat at all times. You're done. You can try your best, but you're never going to deal the damage you need to.
You could not have asked for a better meta protect the cog comp.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think Cloud9 was the better team, but they also made the worst draft of this whole Worlds in Game 5. So, it's disappointing, but they earned their loss in some ways. Game 1, they didn't use their advantage. Game 5, they didn't look at what was on the board, or they somehow felt they could beat a comp that has so far just dominated at Worlds. They're just like, oh, we've got this. Like, maybe if they had taken the Malzahar bit mid, I would have believed it, but they just took the Ori again. And they really shot themselves there, and it was unfortunate. So, yeah.
Cloud9, sad day. Was
Still the best NA team at Worlds. I mean, by far the best NA team at Worlds. They should be in the semis. I'm unfortunate they are. I'm saddened that they aren't, and it's unfortunate. But TSM Immortals, neither of those teams belonged in the semis. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think they would have done nearly as well.
No. So moving on, then we have our results. We have SKT going against RNG to kick off the semifinals.
Yep, and that's on Saturday.
Yes, they're Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Well, it's Friday night going into Saturday morning.
Yep.
So fall asleep on Friday night, get some games to watch in the morning, which is what I like to do.
All right, so let's go ahead and do our picks here. SKT RNG. Who you got?
Who I got?
I think I gave SKT 3-1 against Misfits. I think that they are going to go...
You gave, yes. Or no. 3-1. SKT over Misfits is what you had said.
I'm going to go 3-1 over RNG.
SKT over RNG?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, 3-1 SKT.
Like I said, SKT knows how to pull it out of their asses when they need to, and I think we will continue to see that happen.
I'm going to say the depth of their ass is not what it used to be, and they're going to get 3-1 by RNG. I'm honestly would not be surprised if this is a complete sweep. I think RNG's bot lane's way better. We saw Misfits abuse SKT with that. RNG's bot lane is better than Hansama Ignar. Like, Ignar has unconventional picks, but Uzi will just shit. He played against Reckless in one.
So,
do
you think that Misfits is better than Fnatic?
Yes.
Do you think that they're that much better than Fnatic?
I think they're quite a bit better. Not like insanely.
Like, I think 3-0 is a little bit of a stretch.
I'm guessing 3-1, but I would not be surprised at a 3-0. Also, with your own point with RNG Fnatic, RNG played poorly and drafted poorly that match.
Yeah.
RNG could have 3-0'd Fnatic.
You're right. They definitely could have.
Also, Cloud9 could have 3-0'd WE.
Sad day.
Should have.
Alright, so I've got 3-1 SKT, you've got 3-1 RNG.
So,
3-1, yeah.
I'm going to say... I think I'm going to agree with Chase, actually.
Ooh, 3-1 even?
3-1 SKT. Reason being, SKT was against... Misfits played very well. They played unconventional guerrilla warfare.
You're right.
SKT has historically either trounced or just seized the right opportunity at exactly the right time against more conventional teams and more conventional comps, which I think RNG is going to play relatively predictably.
You know, I'll give you that. That makes a lot of sense.
I do think SKT is just going to win just because they have slightly more flex, if you will, than the standard meta.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. You know, Misfits is unpredictable, which does mess with SKT some. So absolutely on that. I still I fear for SKT in the fact that, one, I think RNG has easily a better bot lane. And secondly,
Yeah.
RNG's a way better late game team than Misfits is. Because Misfits, they in a couple of the games showed really good strategy in their rotations and getting Baron and stuff. I think RNG's even a little better than that. As we saw against Fnatic, they really choked them out a couple times. So, I don't know. If it goes 3-2, I won't be surprised, but I'm still on the RNG train on this one. And part of that, I'm sure, is me going, fucking SKT lose. Dear God. Just lose, please. But yeah, so we got all 3 ones, just me on the opposite side from you two. So, we have Samsung Galaxy versus WE. Oh, okay, actually, so thoughts. I think RNG's really a great team. You guys think they're good. You think SKT's good. Like, we all think everybody on the top side of the bracket's at least a damn good team, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I honestly think that RNG is going to take it.
That's where I'm at. Wait, but you're predicting SKT to win this.
But I'm predicting SKT. Like I said,
I don't think he knows how this bracket system works.
I thought that was incongruous as well.
Ooh, nice word.
I think RNG is going to win, but I think that the SKT can pull things out of their ass. They can make stuff
No,
happen
I gotcha.
where it
If
shouldn't.
RNG wins this, you're like you think they're the best team right now, but you feel like SKT's gonna do what SKT does.
I think that they can make stuff happen.
Yeah.
RNG would be your chalk pick if you didn't think
There you go.
SKT's reliable ability.
Okay,
to
you know
pull-
what? No, I understand this. What happened was this is the guy who picked SKT, Fnatic, Longzhu, and Cloud9 to win, and he knows his shit's fucked, so he's just picking whatever.
Yup.
You're like, I got 3 wrong the first time, can't do much worse.
I literally cannot win the bracket. So
I can
it doesn't matter.
only get 2 wrong from here. Yeah, true. You had Fnatic, or no, you had SKT and wait, what? Hell, your pick was SKT. Why? Oh, because that's still there. You had Longzhu winning it all,
Yeah, I did.
and you had Fnatic here. So yeah, you can only get one more thing right, which is SKT winning. So you're just hoping for those points, which you don't need anymore.
I don't need the points,
already
but
got
I
the
still
icon.
think they're gonna win.
Okay. So yeah, moving on to the bottom side of the bracket, Samsung Galaxy versus WE.
I think Samsung Galaxy is gonna 3-0 them.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Samsung. I feel like I don't know anything.
I feel like
because Longzhu
I feel
didn't-
like I did know more about them than I originally did, but
I thought I knew more about them before they 3-0'd Longzhu.
They're the team
that's what I'm saying. Yes, like
Yeah.
I thought I knew what they could do, and shit.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like in group stage, Samsung looked inconsistent with weaknesses, and you can make the sandbagging claim. And okay, some of the teams say like, "Oh yeah, we're just feeling out the other people." But you know what? You want a fucking one slot.
I can't,
Don't lie.
I can't say sandbagging because I had Longzhu taking the whole thing,
Right.
like, and they didn't make it past Samsung
Yeah.
Galaxy. So
They didn't
at
make
all,
a game off of them.
yeah.
They even pretend. But I don't know. Like after that, I don't know if Longzhu just didn't show up. I mean, obviously they didn't show up to the moment in the way they should have. But is Samsung that good, or did Longzhu play that board? I mean, did Longzhu pull a reverse EDG? Because EDG week 2 was a quarterfinal worthy team, possibly a semifinal worthy team. Week 1, they were a why weren't you in the play-in team? Right? WE, I still feel like they belonged in the play-in. I don't think they're a great team. They should have lost to Cloud9. I'm going to pick Samsung. I feel like they'll fuck.
3-0. 3-0.
I want to go 3-0. Like, in my head, I'm like, but W can pull it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. 3-0. 3-0.
Boom.
Samsung. Is that yours as well?
Yeah,
That's what I said.
That's mine too.
All right. So,
I just like you can't shit on Longzhu that hard without being worth some degree of
and my
salt.
vote's the other way. It's not that, oh man, they beat up on Longzhu. It's WE's not very good. They got lucky that Cloud9 spent 5 minutes doing nothing with the lead. They should have been 3-0'd. Cloud9, they did win Game 4. They earned that. Absolutely. And then Cloud9 fucked the draft in Game 5. WE was given that semifinal berth as much as they earned it. I literally like as much. We all agree that Cloud9's the better team. Would I say Cloud9 would be either Samsung or Longzhu? No.
No.
They're okay right now. They're not great. They're not what
Well,
they
that's-
need to
that's
be
why
to
I
make a
didn't-
finals. Misfits deserves that spot better than WE. If you ask me to rank like strength on teams right now, I'm gonna say RNG over Samsung just because I don't feel like I know Samsung, and then I'm gonna say SKT and WE. If you tell me to add in any teams I want from the previous thing, I put Misfits and Cloud9 ahead of both WE and SKT. I put SKT like right there with them, maybe. WE's worse than two teams that didn't make this round.
I agree. I think they're...
They shouldn't be here, but they are. Yeah, they're the sixth best team in the semifinal.
Maybe this is kind of a bit of a stretch to say, but if we're gonna talk like history lessons here, apparently it was miraculous that Hitler did as well as he did in World War II. Like, he was a terrible tactician and like just...
Hello, Russia!
Yeah, like, he just happened to get the right shit at the right time and it worked out for him.
Things worked out that shouldn't have, but that's a lot of wars. But
I'm not
So
saying...
you're caught... Wait, I'm pretty sure Zane just called WE Hitler.
Strategically, I suppose I did. No, I seriously feel like they somehow just fell through the cracks all the way to the
I
semifinals.
feel like I need a little mustache. It's just like WE's logo. As opposed to my giant real mustache.
I don't know. It's not
Does
sure.
that make sense, though?
No, I absolutely. Like,
Yeah, like, they
their
just...
strategy's okay, but it was other people fucking up and allowing it to work.
Just like,
Which is
how
Cloud9.
are they here?
So, Cloud9 are the idiot French along the Rhine going, oh, they picked Galio Jenna. Ah, they can have Coke too, who gives a shit? And then they're like, oh no, they take us over. Ah, we surrender. Is that, so Cloud9 are the French.
Cloud9 are the French.
I think Sneaky would be okay with this. He would, like, do something with a baguette. Honestly, like, I said it jokingly earlier, but WE's the sixth best team in the semifinal. I think both Misfits and Cloud9 were better, and they failed with on Cloud9's case multiple mistakes. Misfits, I think, were evenly matched with SKT because it was only one mistake that kept them from getting through.
Yeah.
And SKT then did outplay them.
In an alternate reality, I would have loved to see Misfits versus WE.
Oh!
Misfits would have just taken a huge steaming shit on their face.
Yeah. Maybe, honestly, okay, so, like, if we go with the alternate reality, like, I think what should have happened if teams didn't screw themselves, we see Misfits against RNG, and I think RNG wins that. And we see Cloud9 against Samsung, and I think Samsung wins that. So I see the final the same now as I do with the other wins. You guys have SKT going through, which is another thing. I mean, right now I see RNG winning it all. And you say you see RNG winning it all, but so if SKT does win, though, if it goes SKT Samsung as you predicted, who do you think takes it?
SKT.
All right, you?
SKT versus Samsung.
Yeah. Based on our predictions for this round.
Now, I think this is the situation where the same way I see Cloud9 as the evil James Bond villain of North America, I just see SKT as the James Bond villain of the world, and I think
They're the ones that have
They
been
are.
here.
They are.
I
They've been to 3
absolutely-
worlds and they won all of them.
I want Samsung to win. That is what I'm
just-
saying right
I want
now. as
neither
look
of them
at
to
this.
win.
I want Samsung to
I want
win.
Korea to lose. And honestly, I think RNG, like, if you say, if you had to, like, rank the teams, if you had to, who do you think is the best? 1, 2, 3, 4. We all say WE's 4th.
Right.
Yep.
Who do you have as number 3 right now? And I think we all say Samsung's a little hard to figure out because of how they look in
Right.
the group as opposed to the quarter.
Right.
But who do you see as 1, 2, 3 between SKT, RNG, Samsung?
RNG, SKT, Samsung, WE.
And I see RNG, Samsung, SKT, WE. And we all see WE at the bottom, so it doesn't matter.
I think...
And I think the argument could be for Samsung first, but I don't think SKT first.
I say if we read this, the bracket we're looking at from the top down.
Yeah. You say SKT, RNG, Samsung is what you...
I do.
See, I find it really hard to argue
With
SKT
with
above
the
RNG or
gray,
Samsung.
if I'm to declare a gray area, I see it between 2 and 3.
You see...
RNG and Samsung.
You think SKT is easily the best, then?
Not easily. I mean, there's these 3, and then WE is here. Again.
After SKT's group stage, along with their fight against Misfits, I find it really hard to argue that they're the best team left. If there's one team I think you couldn't argue besides WE, because they're pile and none of us like them, I think RNG and Samsung both
we
have...
loved you up
No,
until this week, WE.
I think of it
we loved
this
you
way.
up until this week.
I think of it this way.
I never loved them. You guys loved them.
I loved them.
Yeah.
I loved them up until this week.
You rode that Chinese dick all the way here.
All 1.5 inches of it.
And I think of it this way. If SKT and Misfits were switched, I think I'd still read it from the top down.
Misfit... Oh, wow. See, you just don't have any faith in RNG, then, is what it is. Or Samsung, I guess, technically.
I mean, again, between RNG and Samsung is my gray area, my gay area.
See, I don't know. I guess, because I saw going into quarters, SKT is the second weakest team from the 1 seed, the RNG, SKT, Longzhu, and WE. Like, I saw SKT, I'm like, no, it's WE at the bottom and SKT second from the bottom. And obviously, those two somehow fucking made it on. But it was also their matchups a little bit. Because I would have said the worst two going in were Fnatic and probably Cloud9. I don't know. Misfits Cloud9 I saw is about even. But
I
yeah,
mean, with
I don't know.
SKT, though, you can't... I mean,
I
never
feel like
mind...
if they were going to choke, they would have done it by now.
And never mind,
I don't think they have to choke to lose to RNG. That's how I feel. I feel like
oh no,
RNG can just beat them
RNG's
straight
a
up.
perfectly
No,
respectable
not the
team.
RNG, but like the Misfits. Like,
Right. Well,
like I feel like if they were going to have choked, they would have done it already.
my thought of that is, I don't know that they have to choke. I don't think they're good enough that choking is required for them
Now,
to lose.
Here's
I think they can be outplayed.
Here's what I have to say about SKT. They've always won every game they've controlled from the beginning. And they are able to take a look at something in literally 1 second and say, hey, this could win us the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that ability is to be discounted
No.
just because the odds seemed low.
And you know what? To be fair,
Like, they've done it too consistently for that to be
Yeah.
a coincidence.
and to be fair, the team that's been to 3 Worlds and won those 3 Worlds, bet against SKT at your own peril. I totally yes. But
I fucked up enough in my bracket, so me going SKT means they're surely gonna lose.
Yeah, so keep that bet. Yes. Yeah. All right. So I mean, we see SKT versus Samsung and RNG versus Samsung. We all think WE's a pile of trash living on borrowed time.
Yes.
I'd say they were not a pile of trash up until this week.
That's
You know, I gotta
actually-
say though, I'm not gonna be shocked if like Samsung like shows up and like craps the bed. It's like, wow, they weren't good. Longzhu just didn't show up either. Like, and then somehow WE is in a final that they don't belong in because they are not. Out of those 4 teams on that side of the bracket, they are the 4th team.
Oh God, please don't make that
Which
happen.
if that happens, then every TSM fan should go, but why couldn't we be that 4th team?
I'd rather it was TSM.
No, WE, I mean, including some luck, I feel like is the H2K of last year. H2K made it into the quarterfinal facing Albus Nox Luna, who was like Gambit, basically. And it's like, come on. Like, yeah, Albus Nox pulled out some cool shit. They made it through. They're a lot like Gigabyte Marines, where they play some weird stuff. And so Albus Nox made it. H2K got them, and it's like, well, Europe makes the semifinals, and then they got shit on in the semi. But I think WE should be that. I hope WE's that because they don't deserve to go on. I just don't feel that way. So, any other thoughts? I think Reckless Sad, please come back. Cloud9, you messed up. Misfits, we're gonna miss those bunny outfits. They're great. They're gonna be a threat next year as
And
well.
WE, what the fuck are you doing here?
Definitely on borrowed time. Absolutely, that's where I feel. Any other thoughts? Any of you overarching cool picks? Anything like that?
I've said my picks. I've had my grievances.
So many grievances.
Here's one last way I look at SKT versus RNG.
We're going deep on this one.
I
Because
see
the other one none of us give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, WE goes...
We're all gonna be so mad if WE wins, though. Yes?
WE...
I'm not gonna be mad. Like,
Suck a bag of dicks, WE.
No, him and me, we're gonna be mad. Fuck you.
I've loved WE up until they beat Cloud9.
Well, you're wrong.
They've been the underdog. They're still the underdog. Like, if they somehow pull...
I like the underdog when they're good, like the Misfits. You're not wrong, is what he wanted to say.
No, they've played the same game from the very first.
You're right.
They've played a very methodical. They've played a chess match.
You're right. I also think that makes them very susceptible, though, because Samsung, who prepared really well for Longzhu, should be able to go.
It does make them very
and you
susceptible.
Picked 3-0. You picked the 3-0.
To
a good prep team, which is what Samsung looked like against Longzhu. So let's all hope Samsung walks in and goes, we're gonna ban Kog, Janna, or Gal. They should just ban Kog'Maw every match. I feel like WE without Kog'Maw looks fucking lost.
Here's what I want to happen. I want every meta carry to get banned. And then you're left with garbage and Samsung wins because they're better players.
Okay, hold on. Zane's ideal phase 1 bans. Kalista, because she's already been 100%. Xayah. Tristana. Kog'Maw. Who else we got?
Caitlyn.
Galio, Cho'Gath.
No, carries. You talked about carries. You didn't say 80, you just said carry. But Caitlyn, there's one other one we're missing, right? No, maybe not. Because, it was Tristana, Xayah... There's one other one in that low group. It was Tristana, Xayah, and somebody else was being played, like, during the group stage. What is it? Oh, no, Varus? It was the Cog. It was Varus? The Cog. Oh. No, it was the Cog. So, okay. Kalista was the main one, and then Tristana, Cog, Xayah were the 3. And then, we've seen Caitlyn, and then, we'll go Varus is the next one. So those 6 are banned. Was everybody going to play, like, they're going to fight over Vayne?
Right.
Vayne and Varus have been almost played the same amount at this point now. I think we've seen 3 Vaynes, and actually we might have only seen 2 or 3 Varuses.
No,
Ash is going to show up.
Varus has been a pretty, more common.
Oh, Twitch! Twitch is the other one.
That's right. Yes.
So Twitch over Varus.
Yes.
So everybody falls into Varus Vayne. Get that V lane matchup. I wish there was a support with a D name, and then you could have the VD lane. I'm a bad person.
Well, we already knew that. So, do we have anything else to follow up with before we...
That was a long-winded diversion from SKT versus RNG is basically Faker versus Uzi.
Right. Can Faker keep his team together and make up for their shortcomings as much as RNG can just sit around at Uzi and go, well, you fucked your lane. You want to fuck everybody else? So,
Exactly.
So, I think that's a good way to look at these matches. I think SKT RNG is going to come down to, can RNG's bot lane outdo what SKT can pull together through Faker? And the other one is WE's long game going to be good enough that Samsung doesn't,
screw the pooch.
It doesn't set up for it.
Faker, he doesn't always make the plays in his lane. He likes to roam top. He likes to roam bottom.
He likes to carry the team,
and he makes those huge plays. Like he travels around like the jungler.
He's the most consistent player in the world. Yeah. I don't think that's much of a stretch to say.
He's still Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
he's not Michael Jordan on the Wizards yet, but it's getting close. If they lose this and they should have lost him, I'll actually go ahead. I'll say Faker at this point might be Michael Jordan on the Wizards, because Michael Jordan on the Wizards still put up insane numbers. Go back and look at it. He put up Bulls level numbers. It's just the rest of the team sucked ass. And that's kind of where we're at. The bot lane, Wolf is still good support, but that's it. Their Peanut, who was great last year on Rocks Tigers, is not that good this year, it seems. And it's kind of like a Sven Skaren thing, where his style has changed because of the team. And the top who's their top laner? SKT top laner.
Huni.
Yeah,
Oh,
Huni.
yeah, Huni.
Huni can carry though. Huni's inconsistent, but he can carry. But
So it's
Yeah.
usually like the games that Huni does well, it's the games that Faker doesn't do well, and it's the other way around.
well, because when
always, but,
Huni
like,
gets ahead, I mean, so SKT's a good enough team. They're like, this person's ahead. Let's feed them the gold, and that's what they do. They're like, Huni's ahead. Give him 2 lanes of minions as well as kills if we can, and it gets him so far ahead nobody can deal with him. You know, it's like me playing Tristana with Jeff. It's like, hey, I'm going to take mid lane, I'm going to take my bot lane, we got this turret, I'm going to roam mid, farm that, take their turret, then I'm going to roam top and take that lane and take that turret. And hey, guess what? I have twice as much gold as anyone on my team. Don't worry though, I got this.
To be fair, Jeff is
Yeah, no, I'm playing a bunch of bronzies, and it's fantastic.
you might be playing lower than bronzies.
Unranked. There's a couple of them. But yeah, okay, so
I can make shit happen in those games too, and I'm terrible.
I gotta say, I'm a little less excited for this round, the semifinals, than
I
I was for
am
the
as
quarters.
well. Like all
And
the
not
teams
just
that I
because the
care-
Westerns are gone, because I felt like the matchups were more fun. I think the good matchup is SKT RNG, that's going to be an interesting match, and Samsung and WE shouldn't be, and I sure hope it isn't. I hope it's not interesting in the way I predict it's not going to be interesting. I'm going to be so mad if
Better
WE
not be
wins.
interesting.
WE, keep playing your game. They've screwed me over
No,
already.
hold on.
I agree. Keep playing the same game you've played, you piece of dog shit.
Alright, hold on. Let's set up a bet here, because we're pretty vehement about this. What if WE wins? What happens to Chase? Or what happens to us? And if WE loses, what happens to Chase?
You have to shave your beard. You have to grow a beard.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, I've shaven everything but the mustache for Halloween anyway, so that's not much of a punishment. But I guess it would force me to wear the mustache for a couple days more.
I will add the addendum if the people at work get grossed out by the result, I'll probably still have to shave it. But I'll try.
Okay, if WE wins, I have to wear the mustache for a full week. Just the stash. So I have to go into work looking like a skinny old pedo from the 70s. You have to look like a dirty Italian.
He's right.
Now, if you... I think your and I should be the same. You have to wear a mustache for a week. No beard.
Wait, if WE wins,
If WE loses, you wear a mustache. If WE wins, I wear a mustache. He wears his dirty Italianness.
Yep.
He wears his heritage as it was meant to be.
done. So I agree that WE loses.
What?
WE, I want Samsung to win.
No, the other way.
Damn it.
You're on WE's dick. You want them to win. You love
I already
WWE.
said they were going to lose 3-0.
Yeah, but you want them to
But
win.
do you want WE to win?
This isn't a fair trade.
All right. If a bet happens, we'll tweet it out or something. All right.
This seems scary.
This has been League of Vloggers, episode 7.
12, Niner.
Did I get a 9er in there?